Curiosities about the animals, how they live, and how they survive extreme cold. Introduction. Imagine a place where the sun can disappear for months, where the ground is not land but ice in constant motion, and where temperatures can drop to -40 degrees Celsius. This place exists, and even though it seems impossible, it is home to animals incredibly adapted to extreme life. Today, we are traveling to the North Pole, in the heart of the Arctic, to discover which animals live there, how they feed themselves, where they sleep, live, or build their nests, and most importantly, how they survive cold that could kill a human in minutes. Get ready, because nature, once again, proves to be far more intelligent than we imagine. Polar bear, the king of the Arctic. The most famous animal of the North Pole is undoubtedly the polar bear. It is the largest land carnivore on the planet, weighing over 600 kilograms. Diet. Polar bears mainly eat seals, especially ringed seals, occasionally walruses, fish, and even whale carcasses. They hunt using the ice. They can wait for hours beside breathing holes in the ice, patiently waiting for seals to surface. Where it lives. They do not build permanent homes. They constantly move across sea ice. Pregnant females dig snow dens where they give birth and protect their cubs. How it survives the cold. 2 layers of fur, black skin underneath which absorbs heat, a thick layer of fat that acts as insulation, large furry paws that prevent slipping at heat loss. Fun fact, although they look white, polar bear fur is actually transparent. Seals, the ice and ocean dwellers. Seals are essential to the Arctic ecosystem. Diet. They eat fish, squid, crustaceans. They are excellent swimmers and spend much of their lives in freezing water. Where they live. They live between the ice and the ocean. Some species create breathing holes in the ice. They give birth on the ice where their pups remain protected. Cold survival. Thick layer of body fat, rounded bodies that reduce heat loss, specialized blood circulation to keep vital organs warm. Seal pups are born with a natural winter coat. Arctic whales. Several whale species live in or migrate through the North Pole. Main species: bowhead whale, narwhal, beluga. Diet. Plankton, small fish, crustaceans. They filter food directly from the water. Where they live. The Arctic Ocean. Migratory. They follow ice patterns and seasons. Cold survival. Fat layers that can exceed 50 centimeters. Massive bodies that retain heat. Metabolism adapted to icy water. The bowhead whale can live over 200 years. Unicorn, the narwhal. The narwhal looks like a mythical creature. Diet. Fish, shrimp, squid. Where it lives. Deep Arctic waters beneath the ice. Uses cracks in the ice to breathe. Cold survival. Thick blubber layer. Slow swimming to conserve energy. Amazing fact. The narwhal's horn is actually a giant tooth packed with nerve endings. Important pause. There are no penguins at the North Pole. This is very important to clarify. Penguins live only in the southern hemisphere, mainly in Antarctica. They have never lived at the North Pole. Arctic wolf. The Arctic wolf is a resilient and strategic predator. Diet. Arctic hares, small rodents, occasionally young or weakened animals. Where it lives. Does not build permanent dens in winter, shelters behind rocks or ice formations, lives in packs which improves survival. Cold survival. Extremely dense fur, small ears that reduce heat loss, thick tail used like a blanket while sleeping. Arctic fox. One of the most adaptable animals in the Arctic. Diet. Small rodents, eggs, leftovers from polar bear kills. Where it lives. Lives in underground dens, some have used for generations. Dens protect against wind and extreme cold. Extreme survival. Fur changes color, white in winter, brown in summer. Can survive temperatures below -50 degrees Celsius, one of the warmest furs in the animal kingdom. Reindeer, caribou. Reindeer are vital to Arctic indigenous cultures. Diet. Lichens, dug from beneath the snow, mosses, low-growing plants. Where they live in large migrating herds, constantly move in search of food. Cold survival. Thick, hollow fur that traps heat, wide hooves for walking on snow, specialized nose that warms air before it reaches the lungs. Arctic birds. Despite the harsh climate, many birds thrive in the Arctic. Examples: snowy owl, Arctic gulls, Arctic tern. Diet. Small rodents, fish, insects during summer. Where they live, nests built on the ground or among rocks. Many species migrate thousands of kilometers. Survival strategies: dense feathers, strategic migration, fast metabolism. The Arctic tern completes the longest migration on Earth. Arctic fish and crustaceans, the foundation of the Arctic food chain. Diet. Plankton, microscopic algae. Cold survival. Antifreeze proteins in their blood, slow metabolism, live beneath the ice where water temperature is more stable. Conclusion. The North Pole is not an empty frozen desert. It is a living world, extremely balanced and fragile. Every animal depends on ice, cold, and the ocean to survive, and any change to this environment affects the entire chain of life. Another fascinating aspect of life at the North Pole is how energy conservation is essential for survival. In such an extreme environment, wasting energy can mean death. Many Arctic animals move slowly, rest for long periods, and hunt only when necessary. Unlike animals in warmer regions, they cannot afford constant activity because food is scarce and calories are precious. Every movement is calculated. Every hunt matters. Seasonal change also plays a huge role in the lives of Arctic animals. During the long summer days when the sun never sets, animals must eat as much as possible. This is the time when they build fat reserves, raise their young, and prepare for the harsh winter ahead. When winter arrives and darkness dominates the landscape, many species reduce activity, migrate, or rely entirely on the fat they stored during the brighter months. Sound and silence are another interesting survival factor. The Arctic is often extremely quiet, and many predators rely on acute hearing rather than sight. Arctic foxes, for example, can hear small rodents moving under thick layers of snow. With a precise leap, they break through the snow and catch their prey. In a world covered in white, sound becomes a powerful survival tool. Camouflage is also a matter of life and death at the North Pole. The white fur of many animals is not just for warmth, it allows them to blend perfectly in the snowy environment. This helps predators hunt without being seen and helps prey avoid detection. Even birds like the snowy owl use their white feathers to disappear against the ice and snow, becoming nearly invisible. Finally, it's important to remember that the Arctic ecosystem is deeply interconnected. If one species struggles, many others are affected. The loss of sea ice impacts seals, which impacts polar bears, which then affects the entire chain of life. The animals of the North Pole are not just survivors of cold, they are part of a fragile system that depends on balance, stability, and respect from the rest of the world.